Let's welcome back to MidPoint journalist and associate professor of investigative journalism at the University of Maryland, Deborah Nelson, and also award-winning broadcast journalist, founder of JaneUnchained.com, and a frequent commentator here on MidPoint, Jane Velez-Mitchell. Ladies, good to see you. Jane, thanks for joining us.
Hi, Ed.
All right, Jane, I'm going to let you go first on this because we've been talking about it here for a segment now. Most people are kids. First time they ever get a chance to see wild animals was in the circus. Now we've got elephants gone in 3 years. What are we going to... Kids need to see these kind of things. How do we then expose them to this without basically taking the animals and torturing them in order to do it?
You have to teach your kids compassion, and parading them in front of tortured animals is not the way to teach kids compassion. I am absolutely thrilled that Ringling Brothers has made this decision, not because they're nice people, but because activists have weathered the cold night after night protesting in front of Ringling Brothers Circus at the Barclay Center in Brooklyn. I was there, 9-degree weather, more than 100 people bearing the cold saying, this is cruelty, it's not entertainment. And, you know, the simple fact is that elephants do not engage in synchronized dance routines because you ask them nicely. The only way they do that is to break their spirit. So to bring your kids to watch animals whose spirits have been broken is teaching them the worst lesson of all. Now, there's videotape. We can see animals in the wild. There's sanctuaries. And I have to say this, Ed, I object to the idea of these animals, these elephants, being retired to a so-called sanctuary in Central Florida, run by the same people or affiliated with the same people who use bull hooks on them. These animals, these elephants, should go to an independent sanctuary, a genuine, legitimate sanctuary. And the difference between a sanctuary and a zoo is that a sanctuary is set up for the benefit of the animals, not people. That's why zoos confine animals to small spaces, because if they didn't do that, the animals would go over there and you wouldn't see them. So sanctuaries are not designed to breed animals, they don't sell animals, they don't trade animals. They're there to allow animals to live as close to a natural life as possible. I think that these elephants should not be retired in 3 years. They should be retired today. And I'm also disturbed that Ringling Brothers has announced that they're going to proudly continue the tradition of using lions and camels and tigers. All animals should be retired from the circus, Ed. Cirque du Soleil has proven that with imagination, creativity, and human spirit, we can entertain people. We don't need to torture animals in the process.
All right, Deborah, I'm going to let you both hear something. Here's Ingrid Newkirk, the president at PETA. She agrees with Jane. She says no entertainment purposes, but this shouldn't take 3 years. Here it is.
Not being in those boxcars for days on end in shackles is a wonderful relief for elephants. The sooner that stops, the better. It should stop now, not in 3 years. There's no excuse for it to continue.
Deborah, let me come to you first on this. With regard to just animals, just elephants itself, is this the end of the circus as we know it? Should it be the end of the circus as we know it? And then what about animals such as the great killer whales at SeaWorld? Should these also be let back into the wild or taken care of for the rest of their life?
I've got to say that, you know, when I started work on this story, I had not been to the circus in decades, except for Cirque du Soleil. And I went back to a Ringling Brothers show, and I think it was in Philadelphia. And there, I was struck at how anachronistic the animal acts were. There was no reason. They didn't need them. They had a fabulous show with, you know, with human performers. They didn't need the animals at all. And in fact, it was sad. It was wrenching to see, you know, animals, even dogs, being whipped and made to perform. They don't need it. And you know, one of the things I saw in the files, Jen, you brought up children need to be taught. They know that. They can see that. A dad wrote, he said, I'm not a PETA-carrying activist, but my child was really upset by how sad the elephants looked.
Jane, I got about 30, 40 seconds left. If then we are at this point where we've decided that this is the wrong thing to do, and I think it's been decided for many years, this isn't anything new here. Do we just need to get these circuses, whoever they are, Ringling Brothers, whatever, shut them down around the country, period, end of story?
Ringlings can operate without animals. Guess what, Ed? My mother was in the circus. okay? She walked a tightrope. She was shot out of a cannon, and it was one of the greatest experiences of her life. So people can elect to be in the circus if they want to be. Animals don't have that choice. They can't say, oh yeah, I want to be whipped or I want to be hit with a bull hook. They are voiceless. We need to speak for them. This is the social justice movement of the 21st century, and I want to applaud you, Ed, for covering this story, which is often ignored by mainstream media.
I guarantee you, Jane, it won't be ignored here because it's something that I've been talking about for many years. If the circus goes away, won't bother me in the least as long as there's never another animal. I have to agree there, right there. I don't want it at all. We're all out of time. We could continue this for a long time. We will stay on this story, though. Deborah Nelson, again, a fascinating article in Mother Jones Magazine. Thank you. Jane Velez-Mitchell, always a pleasure having you on the show. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Ed.
All right, ladies, take care and thank you. Next up, the X-Files connection to the Hillary Clinton email affair and the final line on whether she did indeed or did not break the law.